I know that I will learn so much with you tonight. We are between the experts in this area, especially in its application in the sports world, in football. So I know I will not be the only one learning with you today. All our people at home will learn a lot too, especially in this area. So interesting and a lot to say about sports marketing, right? And I think we will start with Russel. I think you have a lot to tell us because my colleagues, which are very, very interested in the football world, told me all about the Wolves and how you have all this success in your marketing strategies, your planning, and your relation with Portugal specifically. So I think it would be so interesting to know all about this global revolution that you guys are creating there.
Well, thank you, Valda, for that introduction.
Interested in the football world told me all about the Wolves and how you have all this success in your marketing strategies, your planning, and your relation with Portugal specifically. So I think it would be so interesting to know all about this global revolution that you guys are creating there.
Well, thank you, Valda, for that introduction.
Interested in the football world told me all about the Wolves and
Are we ready? I'm just checking. I had a bit of an echo there. Valda, are you ready to go?
Yes, I believe now it's okay.
We good? Okay, fantastic.
Yeah,
well,
I believe so.
Brilliant. Well, firstly, thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here. And Mafalda, I hope you've given me a good introduction there. So I hope I don't let you down in terms of teaching you and giving you some interesting insight into Wolverhampton Wanderers as a Premier League football club, but also Wolves as a brand. So I'm starting by this home screen, and for those of you who do follow football and the English Premier League, you're probably aware that today's been quite a big day for us. We've announced that the gentleman there in the middle, Nuno Espirito Santo, will actually leave the club on his last game will be against Manchester United on Sunday. He's been an incredible servant to Wolves. We've had 4 fantastic years, and it will be a sad day on Sunday when we see him go. But let me go straight into the presentation just to give you guys an idea of what we're going to do. I'm going to start. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of Wolves in terms of our business and our marketing strategy more generally. And then I'm going to pass over to Pedro, who's going to specifically talk to you a little bit about we're quite happy to answer as many questions as you have. So there's a lot of video in my presentation as well. So I'm hoping the technology is going to hold out and you're able to enjoy the videos. Okay. There we go. Right, we're in. So this, you probably guessed, is me. So this is actually me as an 8-year-old. So I guess you can say my dreams come true because this is me. I received my Wolves kit as an 8-year-old on my birthday. As you can probably see, I'm looking very, very excited there. And on the right-hand side, that's me in the same kit on a camel in Africa. So even back then, I was spreading the word of Wolves all around the world. And then 30-something years on, here's me giving talks in various different countries. So lucky enough now to travel around the world telling the story about Wolves, the club that I supported as a boy. So you might say it's a dream come true. Unfortunately, I didn't quite get to be the footballer. So this is the next best thing for me. Give you a little bit of background on my career in terms of how did I end up at Wolves. Well, I started my career originally. I did play a little bit of football. Unfortunately, I wasn't quite good enough, so I found my way into sports marketing. I started my career off at the IAAF, which is an athletics organisation. I then moved to Aston Villa in 2003, spent 12 years at Aston Villa progressing through the ranks. And then in 2017, fulfilled my boyhood dream and joined my local club, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and watched them go from the Championship to the Europa League in just 3 years. And so now I'm going to give you a bit of an update about our thinking this is very much as a brand. So one thing that we've certainly noticed over the last 2 years is that the entertainment landscape is changing rapidly. You know, what we've seen is this convergence of sport, of fashion, of music and gaming, and they've never ever been more integrated. And so, having recognised that, we set ourselves a vision. You know, what was our vision? Well, first of all, it was to be top six. And by top six, that's not just necessarily about being top six in the league. It's about what we call a challenger mentality. So by that, we mean, you know, we're going to dare to be different. We're going to be progressive in every single thing that we do. And to a certain degree, and we talk about this a lot internally, it's about what does great look like. So every single time we have an internal meeting, we each challenge each other to say, is that what great looks like when we're doing it? Like, what does it look like? And so all the time, we're constantly challenging each other to go beyond where we've ever gone to before. The middle number is our fan base objectives. So when I first joined the football club 3 years ago, we had 500,000 followers, predominantly local fans. We've now managed to get to just under 7 million. And I'll probably talk you through some of the ways that we've managed to achieve that. But we now produce content in 5 languages. Pedro's certainly going to talk about what we've been doing in Portuguese, but we also create content in Mandarin, in Cantonese, in Spanish, in Arabic, and obviously in English as well. And we've also diversified the brand. So we don't see ourselves as just a football club anymore, but I'll talk about that in a second. And then the last one is turnover. So this is always a tricky one. So again, in my time at Wolves, just that 3 years, we've gone from 26 million turnover to 172 million turnover. And whilst that sounds fantastic, a lot of that money, we're very fortunate, comes through to us via broadcast, via TV. So the Premier League affords you a very nice looking check as you arrive in the league. Which brings me on to this slide. I'm not going to spend too much time on here, but I thought it's useful for you guys to get a background on how that works. Now that big orangey yellow looking bar, that's the TV money that I talked about. So that's broadcast. So from Wolves' perspective, that's 77% of our revenue. It comes to us by TV. So we don't control that in any way, shape or form. The Premier League very nice, and they very nicely give us that check. Now the other two areas, match day and commercial, that's what I control. That's the bits that really decide whether we're going to be a big club or whether we're just going to take advantage of the TV check. And the match day revenue is somewhat limited by the size of your stadium. So currently Molineux is 31,000 seats. It's full, or it was before the pandemic, it was full every single game. We had over 10,000 people on the waiting list. But to a certain degree, unless you invest huge amounts of money in the stadium, then there's a ceiling to what we can do in terms of match day revenue. Whereas the other one, commercial, again, when I came to the club, we were doing 7 million in commercial revenue. We're now doing 25 million. And commercial revenue is things like partnerships, sponsorship, retail and licensing. And whilst that's a very good increase, it pales into significance when you look at some of the other clubs. So, for example, Tottenham Hotspur's commercial revenue is 600% more than ours. Manchester United's commercial revenue is 1,000% more than ours. Yet we're trying to compete on the same pitch as them. And sometimes when people see us play against Tottenham or Manchester United, it looks really close on the pitch, but off the pitch, the gap is enormous. And it's my job to try and close that gap. And if we just do the same as everybody else in terms of football, it's impossible. So what you'll probably see in this presentation is ways that we're different. We try to be different. The fact that we're trying to create a sports and entertainment brand, not just be a football club. So here it is. This is our vision. This is what we are. You know, to be the ultimate sports and entertainment challenger brand. That's our brief. This is not about being a top 6 football club. This is about being a sports and entertainment challenger brand. So to give you some context of that, I'd like to think about not a football club. I'd like to think about Red Bull. So 20 years ago, Red Bull was a caffeinated energy drink that gave you wings. Today, Red Bull is a 6 billion turnover company with 12,000 employees, with verticals in motor racing, extreme sports, music, fashion. You get the idea. That's very much where Wolves want to be. My model on the right hand side there, but this was actually from the Paris Fashion Week. And so we created a range of clothing with a very, very famous designer called Christelle Coche. And again, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that in a minute. But this just shows the diversity of where we're going with the Wolves brand. This is not about football fashion. This is not about certain types of fashion you might find in the shop at Wolverhampton. This is about high-end, bespoke, beautiful fashion that adorns the catwalks of Shanghai, of Milan, and of Paris. So this is our strategy. This is, and as you'll probably see, in capital, always on. So the idea here is that this is not a football team that just has 38 fixtures. This is a sports and entertainment business that's always on. We have a fashion business. We have 5 esports teams, soon to be 7. We're working really hard to create a music proposition. And so the idea is that this is about engaging millions of fans with exciting stories across a variety of entertainment platforms. So what's our narrative and how do we tell that story and why have we created this proposition? Well, the main reason we have is because when we're going to sponsors, as I talked to you before, we've got this, we're trying to drive that commercial revenue. We have to have a different story. We know that other clubs like Leicester, like Everton, like West Ham, they'll all be going to the same potential sponsors as us. And they'll all be saying, oh, wow, the Premier League, it's amazing. And by the way, it is amazing. It reaches 3.2 billion cumulative audience in 188 countries. That's amazing. But everybody else can tell that story too. So what other story can we tell? And this gives you a little bit of an idea about the story that we can tell. So with Wolves, it's not just about football. It's about strutting the catwalks of Paris and Shanghai. It's about lining up next to F1 legends at the grid at Le Mans. And as you can see on the right-hand car, that's a Porsche RSR that we took part in the Le Mans virtual 24 hours last June. So this Wolves dare to be different, and that's very much the mentality we encourage amongst our staff. And also, we really believe in this. So this idea of experiences. So this is kind of our ethos. We believe that everything is about an experience. And why? Because it just leaves a longer lasting impression on people. And so our ambition is very much not to just have passive followers, it's to be able to give those followers an experience and an event. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take you through a few executions. So these aren't in any particular order. I just wanted to show you some of the ways that we bring alive this story. Now, I'm sure you probably recognise these 3 superstars. And we got quite a lot of stick for our kind of, the fact we are the most Portuguese team. And by the way, we're really proud of that. And I think this was, to a certain degree, a little bit of us pushing back on those people that were saying, oh, you keep buying everyone from Portugal. And we were like, yeah, we do. And we're proud of it. And aren't we lucky that, in fact, we've managed to recruit all these fantastic players? And so we brought out a sort of Portuguese-themed third shirt. And the guys loved it as well. So João, obviously Pedro and Ruben there, all were very, very proud to wear this jersey. And of course, it created quite a lot of attention in Portugal. It sold out very, very quickly. And I've got a little clip here, and I'm crossing my fingers this video is going to work, of a Portuguese news channel just talking about the launch of our Portuguese-themed kit.
Ora, o Wolverhampton, que fica a meio caminho entre Londres e Liverpool, é a aldeia portuguesa na Premier League. Há 13 portugueses na equipa. Fala-se mais a língua de Camões no balneário do Wolverhampton do que em muitos clubes portugueses. No sentido de homenagear a Armada Lusa, o terceiro equipamento dos Lobos é agora muito idêntico ao de Portugal.
Este é um daqueles casos onde podíamos estar a apresentar os equipamentos da Seleção Nacional. Mas não é disso que se trata. Estamos sim a falar do terceiro equipamento do Wolverhampton. As semelhanças às cores de Portugal são evidentes, o que até se percebe. Afinal, ao todo estão presentes 13 portugueses no Clube da Premier League. A própria promoção dos equipamentos só conta praticamente com jogadores lusos. Mas vamos olhar para as semelhanças. No lado direito do ecrã é a camisola de Portugal utilizada no Mundial 2006. No lado esquerdo, a nova camisola do Wolverhampton. A imagem fala por si. Esta era uma escolha que já se aguardava. No ano passado, o clube anunciou no Twitter que ia utilizar as cores nacionais em 2019-2020. Na altura, tudo não passou de uma partida do dia 1 de abril, mas agora tornou-se mesmo realidade. Os Lobos de Inglaterra têm feito uma aposta clara no mercado português desde 2015-2016. Desde aí, muitos milhões foram investidos e, atualmente, é um dos clubes que mais jogadores dá à seleção nacional.
Duas notas importantes do dia em termos de...
And then I've got another execution for you. So I'm not sure how many of you follow WWE wrestling, but this is a gentleman called Sin Cara, a very famous wrestler, and also a very good friend of our star Mexican striker, Raul Jimenez. And he decided he was going to create a Wolves-themed mask. So he put it out on his social channels. He's got something like 15.6 million followers. And so this created quite a lot of interest amongst Wolves fans in terms of who's this wrestler that's created this super cool mask. And then he actually sent the mask to Raul. And Raul scored a goal in the semi-final of the FA Cup, and he actually put this mask on. And so again, the kind of crowd went mad, and so it was a lot of fun. But then what happened next was that quite a lot of fans were saying to him, "Oh, Sin Cara, you've got to come to Wolverhampton. We really want you to come." And so our managing director at the time actually tweeted him, as you can see here, by saying, "Hi, Sin," or is it Mr. Cara? I'm unfamiliar how to address WWE royalty. But regardless of that, I'd love to invite you to join us at the game on Saturday. And so Sin Cara replied saying, "I'd love to come." And that really sort of started off Sin Cara's journey to come over to Wolverhampton. And I've got a little video of Sin Cara. As you can probably imagine, this content got shared everywhere. It was a huge story for us.
Welcome properly this time. Thank you. Very happy. How are you? I'm good, mate. Okay, Connor, you alright, mate? Yeah. Looking well, pal. You got me head, lad. I'm smiling. Can't even see me. Let's do this. Let's do the hand. Where am I? Now smile really good. Hola, hola. Hola.
Answers. Do you think? Do you think?
There you go, do like that.
Steve Ball wore number 9 when he played for Wolves.
Okay.
And everybody, all the fans, talk about the fact that Raul Jimenez is the best number 9 since Steve Ball.
Wow.
Let's go! Woo! Hey, let's get it done!
So it's not every day you get a WWE wrestler that calls your team out. So that was quite a lot of fun.
That was incredible. I just love how, sorry to interrupt, Russell, it's just that I'm mind blown by the fact that you just have this ability to take every player's personal story and turn it into an experience to offer to your fan. And that's amazing. That's amazing.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you. This next one, and I talked to you before about this idea of fashion. So fashion's really, really important to us. You'll probably see these different pictures here. So, and I'm going to show you in a minute a video that just talks a little bit through our fashion show that we ran in Shanghai about 18 months ago now when we toured there. So let me show you that video.
Starlight raining over me, like drifting through a memory. Wake up in your crystal sky, we're floating just to feel alive. Starlight raining over me, like drifting through a memory. Wake up in your crystal sky, till we starlight raining over me, like drifting through a memory. Wake up in your crystal sky, we're floating just to feel alive.
That was a pretty cool night, as you can probably tell. And I can promise you, there's no other Premier League football club that is doing fashion, music, and also beer. So all the best things in the world right there. This is an example of motor racing. So again, as I said to you, we're diversifying all over. This was a really unique opportunity, mainly because this time last year there was a huge lockdown really across the world. And the World Endurance Championship was cancelled. So the Le Mans 24 Hours race, which is one of the most famous races on the planet, was cancelled. The F1 Grand Prix were cancelled. And so what happened was that drivers became available. So sim drivers joined this race. So all the kind of previous F1 stars like Jenson Button, Rubens Barrichello, Fernando Alonso, and all of the current F1 stars, they all joined the race. So Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, you George Russell, you name it, they all joined. And this is kind of the Wolves car. So we managed to get a car into the race. There were 63 million people watched this race. 63 million.
Wow.
It was broadcast in 57 countries around the world. And Wolves have a very, very famous motorsport presenter called Susie Perry. So when I play this clip, you'll understand why the presenter mentions Susie Perry. So this is, by the way, this is a sim. So this is actually a computer game. But when I play you the clip, it's so realistic. You think it's actually happening during the night of the race of Le Mans. And the race did go on 24 hours. And we had 4 drivers that kept swapping throughout the 24 hours. So I'll play the clip.
Let's watch it.
For a little bit later in the race.
Quick shout out to MotoGP's Susie Perry and all the other Wolverhampton Wanderers fans looking there at the Gulf Racing Wolves sponsored car. Wolverhampton Wanderers, for those of you who aren't British football fans, is a Midlands-based football team based in the town, perhaps unsurprisingly, of Wolverhampton, just outside of Birmingham. Or Birmingham would be just outside of Wolverhampton, they would say. So Wolverhampton Wanderers, their first venture into esports as racing, sponsoring this Gulf racing team. And again, not quite sure where that link came from. Your sponsor is always somebody who somebody you know knows. So it's either a fan thing or something within the team. Somebody within the team or the drivers is a bit of a Wolves fan. But that car, the 86 car, rising up the order. They're now up to 7th position. Ben Barker started the car. He's a regular driver for Gulf Racing in World Endurance and at Le Mans.
I'll leave it there, but you kind of get the idea. So yeah, at that particular moment in the race, we were 7th. It was really exciting. And we have an opportunity this year to actually enter the Le Mans series. And there won't just be the race in Le Mans. There'll actually be there'll be a race in Nürburgring, a race in Monza, a race at Spa. So again, we're really excited about that. And I'm crossing my fingers that on August the 21st and 22nd, you might see a Wolves branded race car at the real Le Mans. So keep your eyes peeled on that one. So this is esports. This is a huge part of again, this diversification of the Wolves brand. And we have 5 teams currently, with 2 teams on the way. We have a FIFA 21 team, which is Brazilian. So we have three people on our roster from Brazil. In the center there, that's actually our Call of Duty team. They're based in China. So they're actually based in Beijing. On the right-hand side, that's Cookseer. He's one of the most famous Rocket League players of all time. He's actually a former world champion. We also have an Identity 5 team, and we have a FIFA Online 4 team as well. And to give you some sort of perspective of why we're doing that in China, and why mobile gaming in particular in China, there's 650 million active mobile gamers in China. 650 million. That's 10 times the entire population of the UK, and twice the population of the United States of America. And these are just active people playing mobile games every day. So it's a huge opportunity for us. We currently have over 500,000 people that are fans of our Chinese esports team. And I suspect there'll be a lot of those people that don't even know we're a football club. That's how the brand is diversifying in China. This is just a little clip just to give you a bit of an overview of our esports team. So you'll see that we're active in Fortnite, you'll see we're active in Rocket League, you'll see we're active in FIFA, and there's just a little clip here for you.
Surely that is your game winner. Bill that remains unbeaten. You can see the wisdom from Wolves. What a play this is. Rich Ronde is on fire.
Those eagle-eyed of you might have spotted Ronaldo in a Wolves shirt there at the start of that clip. And that would be the ultimate Portuguese signing, wouldn't it? So who knows whether that'll ever come true. And then finally, this is a clip from our Rocket League team. And to give you some context of this one, we were in the Rocket League have various different major championships. So this is actually one of the regional events. So it's a huge major event. We're currently 2-0 down in a best of 5 series. So and we're 1-0 down in this particular game. So if we lose this game, we're out of the regional competition. And you can see what happens. Oh, and by the way, we have a house band. So very traditionally in football, you know that we sing songs about players. Well, our house band created a song around one of our Rocket League players. So I'll play the clip and you'll see.
Down to 10 seconds left. Wolves have put up their best fight here in Game 3. Oli and Archie got tangled up for a moment. 3 seconds left. Oli to Rix Ronde! Super Rixie saves the Wolves!
Super Rixie, you make it savvy. Ayo, för Rixande. En alltså skåra, den laddar på såra. Ayo, för Rixande.
if you're like me, you're going to be humming that now for the rest of the night. So, but yeah, so what happened after that anyway is we went into overtime, we won that game, and we reverse swept them. So we went on to win the next 3 games, and we got into the top 8 of the RLCS regional, which was pretty cool. Final one for me, in terms of an example, is CSR. Really important to us, and it's another way that enables us to tell our story in global markets. This particular example is from a campaign that we did with the WWF in Mexico. It was all based around saving the endangered wolf. So Raul Jimenez, who you can probably see on the left-hand side, he's known as our Mexican wolf. And so we spoke to Raul about the endangered wolf campaign and whether he would support it. I mean, I think there was something like 25 wild wolves in the Mexican wolves in the wild. So it was such an endangered species, and it was so important for us to we felt to play our part. And as well as spend time in Mexico with local school children, we also did some work in Wolverhampton with a local school. And again, hopefully this will give you a little bit of flavour about what we took out of Wolverhampton into Mexico.
Because we have got the Wolves team in to talk to us about a project that they are doing, and we are going to be a part of this afternoon.
So the key bit about the Mexican wolf is that some people think wolves are really scary, and they've got a couple of videos that are going to show you that they're not scary, and actually they play a really, really important role in conservation because they keep ecosystems going where lots and lots of other animals can thrive. So I hope you enjoy it today. Who wants Ralph to sign that t-shirt?
Everyone. You're welcome.
The wolves kill the deer because the deer eats all of the... Yeah, of course, so might that link? And which of the picture would you use to link with this one and the other?
All I wanted to say was thank you to everybody. I hope you all enjoyed it. Yeah. What was your favourite bit? I thought you were going to say that. You know, it's a really good animal that helps the ecosystems grow and gives lots and lots of other animals life. Yes, you can remember that. So, are you all going to support the wolves now as well? Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. Well done. You all did really well today. I'll see you soon. Okay.
Thank you. What do we say to the wolves team?
So that was a pretty, we talk about experiences, that was a pretty cool experience for those guys. That's definitely a day at school they won't forget. So what did all that mean? I could probably go on forever talking you through these case studies, but what that means was, as I said at the start, we've gone from having 500,000 followers to nearly 7 million, but we're not stopping there. You know, we're aiming for 50 million and beyond. So this probably just shows you how quickly Wolves have grown, and obviously we're quite proud of this, given that we are one of the fastest growing football clubs in all top 5 European leagues. And then this sort of second one, we're probably even more prouder than this, because sometimes it's quite easy to grow followers, but then it's really hard to keep them engaged in your content and continue to create those experiences. So this is the Pulsar Football Report. And obviously it was fantastic for us to be top of that by some considerable margin. And I think what was really nice is that Manchester City actually won. They did the treble that year. And yet our engagement on our social platforms was 10 times theirs, which, you know, again, we're all really proud of. So I think that is it from me. Just a bit of a thank you. My Twitter is there. If anyone is on Twitter and wants to sort of check out what we're up to from a marketing perspective, then please do.
Thank you so much, Russell. I have to tell you that we talk about leading by example in sports and in general in life. And I can see that you do that a lot, because you were just talking about your followers being engaged with the club. And you are the first one being engaged with the team in all the branches, all the teams that you represent. You know all about the championships. It was a pleasure to hear you being aware of everything that was happening at the esports league. You know, so that's really, really amazing. Congratulations for the effort. I have a question though. You were talking about aiming higher, and do you have a date for that? So when were you planning to achieve that? The 15 million, yeah. That was the number they said.
So yes, we've set ourselves a 3-year target on that. That's 3 years, but
wow,
that doesn't mean to say it's going to take us 3 years. If we get there faster, then clearly that's all good. And we'd love to. I think that the key for us really is, how can we be different to every other football club? Because that's what's going to get us there faster than them. If we just continue to do the same as everybody else does, then we'll never catch them. We'll never catch them. And what we want to do is we want to close that gap on the field. In order to do that, we have to create that fan base and we have to create that revenue. And so this is why we diversified the Wolves brand. Genuinely, there's nobody else doing it. We don't believe like we are. And so it's a really unique and different story that we can tell people. Come and be part of Wolves. And you know what? Even to people in the UK, around the world, you know, I'm not a Man U fan. Or you said, I'm not really a football fan. That doesn't matter. You can follow Wolves fashion. You could follow Wolves music, you could follow Wolves esports, and you could be associated with the brand in a different way. You don't have to be a football fan. We've had a lot of people, even in the UK, that follow our esports teams. So, you know, they're not, you know, maybe they're a Liverpool fan, but actually when Wolves had a Fortnite skin, they thought, that's just super cool. The colours are cool. It's gold and black. I really like it. You know what? That's the skin I'm going to wear. And almost by association, they start to feel closer to the Wolves brand. Even though maybe their dad would never allow them to be a Wolves fan, they can still follow Wolves esports and they can still be associated with what we're trying to do.
Of course, that's such an amazing strategy, just to reach those people that you wouldn't before. It's amazing. Yeah, and you're right. Probably I would buy some of those fashion items.
Very cool. We'd love it, I'm sure.
Definitely. So I think one of the main strategies that you are using in marketing. So marketing is such a universe, right? But it's social media specifically. And I know we have the expert at the Wolves team with us, Pedro here. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Mafalda. Hi, Russell.
So Pedro, we want to know all about what you're doing at social media. How did you grow this fast during these past few years? And how are you planning to keep growing? Where are all these ideas coming from? So I see that you are used to get out of that comfort zone and the football comfort zone that everyone's playing in the Premier League. and you're really innovating in this area.
Yes. First of all, thank you for this invite to be here with Russel and speaking about Wolves. I wasn't a Wolves fan like Russel since I was a kid, because I was born here in Portugal. I'm Portuguese, and I was born in Porto, so it's not difficult to guess which team.
The club.
Yes, but now I'm based still here in Portugal, but in Barcelos, not far from Porto. And this is I've been working since almost my 17 years old as a journalist for about 20 years. And I always loved sports and football, and of course, Premier League is the biggest league in the world, and the most mediatic league in the world. So the opportunity to work with a club from Premier League was a big challenge. And when I started to know better Wolves, I found out that Wolves, beyond having all these Portuguese players and all these Portuguese coaches, and by the way, Wolves is the club with the highest number of players in the Portuguese national team to go to the Euro this year. So it's the most it dominates the team, the Portuguese team.
You must be very proud. We heard that yesterday, wasn't it?
Yes, it was yesterday that it was announced by the Portuguese coach. So beyond that, I found that Wolves are one of the oldest teams in England, and of course in the story of football and it's a founder of the the professional league in England. And for example, I found out a few days ago that the first penalty ever scored in the history of football was scored by a Wolves player, by Wolves. So
wow.
All this makes now a fan of me, a fan of Wolves, and yes, I'm working with Wolves since I think last September, and it's a very close work between us here in Portugal and the team of marketing team and communication team in Wolverhampton. We have meetings every 15 days. We discuss the strategy. Here in Portugal, we try to propose our ideas, and it's been very good to work with them, because they are very open to all of our ideas. So it's been great to do this work. Let me see. Okay, so here in Portugal, Wolves, our main focus is on Twitter. We have a Portuguese Twitter where we all of the content is in Portuguese, and we not only translate some of the content, some of the posts that the English Twitter posts, but we also produce many exclusive content, and we also publish some posts in the main page of Wolverhampton in Facebook. because there isn't a Portuguese page on Facebook, but we post one post a day, every day.
Yeah, I think that's the number recommended, isn't it, to be successful on social media?
Yes, and we have, and our focus is tremendous, because we are talking about Portuguese, about one of the oldest languages in the world, and one of the most speaking languages in the world. There are more than 250 million speakers, Portuguese speakers, all over the world. And I read that we guess that by the end of this century, we will be 500 million Portuguese speakers. So it's a huge market.
It's a big responsibility, a lot of people to reach.
It's a huge market, not only for Wolves, but for any brand, and and in sports, in football, it's the most important, the biggest entertainment show in the world. It's an enormous market. Of course, that we are focused in publishing not only for Portugal, but also content to Brazil, that has a huge population and great fans of football, of course, and all of the other countries in Africa, and Macau and East Timor. So we do things like this that you can see here. Like
I hear that you have a presentation to share with us on that matter.
Yes, that's right. And this, as you can see here, every day, the day before the game, we usually share the schedule of our games in the time zone, in the different time zones, for all the Wolves Portuguese speaking fans, so that they can watch it or follow us on Twitter.
Pedro, I'm not sure that the people at home are seeing this presentation. Oh, no? We can see it now. Yes, great.
Yes. Okay. So I was speaking about this map that we post every day before every game. This one was from last Tottenham Wolves game. And we also try to have some content that can engage our fans. For example, here in Africa, like this one, this was a message from Nelson Semedo in Crioulo. He has family in Cabo Verde, so he speaks Crioulo, and he sent a message for all the fans, and there are many fans, African fans here in Portugal that speak Crioulo. So
very big.
This is the way to connect with them and to straighten our connection with these fans. And of course, we also have some content with our. We don't have many Brazilian players. It's not like in Portugal, where most of the teams have lots of Brazilian players. But anyhow, we have some messages. We had with a message from, for example, from William Jose, and this one from Marçal that we can watch it on. It was on Mother's Day. Sorry.
Nada é mais forte do que o verdadeiro amor de uma mãe. Feliz Dia das Mães.
Okay, it's a very simple content, but it's one of the ways that we have to get connect with the Brazilian fans. And we also, of course, have our live games in our Twitter, as the other Twitter pages also do, the English and the Spanish one, and we follow all the game. During the game, we produce content with the better plays, the goal opportunities, the results, the final of the game, the substitutions, and of course, when the game ends, the words from our coach and the words from our players. So we try to follow the game like the people, like our fans, if they were watching it live.
That's what I was about to say. It's like, I'm not there, but you can actually be, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's the idea. That's the idea.
That experience.
Yes, especially in these times of COVID, of stadiums without the fans. This is a way that they can follow the game and try to be there. Okay, it's what we try, and we also try to have. It's a way to have to engage our fans. We also have, for example, this is one of the ideas that we gave to our colleagues in England, and they accepted, and they challenged the players to do this. It's at the end of the games, they record a small message to the fans, like here, this one from João Moutinho.
Obrigado por terem assistido ao jogo. Tentamos dar bom espetáculo a vocês. Obrigado por tudo. Espero que possam assistir ao nosso próximo jogo e que consigamos mais uma vitória para vocês também. Grande abraço. Tudo bom.
And this one, it's in Spanish because it's Raúl Jiménez, but anyhow, his popularity, it's huge in Mexico and also here in Portugal, because he played here in Portugal in Benfica. So there are still many fans following him. And by the way, most of our most successful posts on Twitter are the ones with Raúl Jiménez. So he's not Portuguese, but he also, when we want many likes, we know that it will be a success if we post anything with Raúl. Let's see it.
Gracias a todos nuestros fans de los Wolves que estuvieron apoyándonos hoy. Espero que hayan disfrutado mucho el partido y bueno, gracias por estar con nosotros en estos partidos. Un fuerte abrazo.
So this was one of our ideas, and it was a very nice work together between us here in Portugal and the team in England. And we also receive the images of the broadcast from every game, and we try to find the best plays from each game, the most spectacular, and once we have here some angles that weren't seen on TV, on the TV transmission, we can have them here. So this one is an example, a fantastic play from Adama Traoré, a Spanish guy. It was not good for the other guys from the other team, but well, that's
indeed
that's Adama. It's terrible. So these are some of the things that we do with the games. Beyond that, we also do some giveaways. For example, the shirts from players, autographed shirts, and here is the score predictor. It's we challenge our fans to guess the score from every games of Wolves, and now in the end of the season they will earn a shirt signed by Fábio Silva, and Fábio has here his own video.
Queres ganhar a minha camisola autografada? Carrega no link deste tweet e adivinha o resultado do nosso jogo.
So it's one more example of the how we can have the players speaking to our fans.
Yeah, you just showed in 1 second how a video makes such a difference for the one watching, isn't it? So just the picture doesn't do it anymore. The post doesn't do it anymore. But hearing, seeing is completely different. We have all these other aspects of communication that we value as a consumer. Yes, because as we used to say, the communication involves all our senses, and the visual sense is one of the most important ways of communication. So having the image, having the players speaking with us, speaking with the fans, it's a way of connection and to get them closer to us. So that's how you are creating that huge engagement comparing to Manchester City, isn't it, Russel?
Yes, but we'll see some numbers that I think it will be interesting. And another way with this one with the Portuguese players, another way to have, and it was a great success, is something that we try to do with some dates from Mexico, for example, and here from Portugal. And this was the last 25 de Abril, the Carnations Revolution, the Portuguese Revolution, that is symbolized with a carnation. And we asked this was one of our ideas that we asked to our colleagues in England. This photo with our players, and this was a huge success. On Twitter, and also on Facebook. This was published on the morning of the 25th of April. And here are some of the results. It was a big success here in Portugal. As also you can see here an image from the message from William José on the day, on the end of, after the game where he scored his first goal in Premier League. He was a smiling guy on this day. He's always very serious because I think he's a little shy. I interviewed him when he signed for Wolves. That's another thing that we do. That is that we try to have this kind of exclusive content for us, and this cooperation also with our with the team in England. For example, this interview. He doesn't speak English, so they needed someone to speak Portuguese. So I interviewed him, and we shared the interview with subtitles in English in the social media, in the English social media, and in Portuguese here in our social media.
That communication between the teams just makes the Wolf team so much stronger. The fact that you guys work together, although you're not in the same country, you don't speak the same language, so you have all these barriers, but it works out fine because you're working towards the same goal, and you have that vision that Russell talked about, that everyone is just working towards that goal, very oriented work. That's amazing.
Yes, and it's an interesting work because we have different cultures, English, Brazilians, Mexicans, Portuguese, and sometimes things that it may not work in England, or it may work in England, may not work here in Portugal or in Mexico. So this connection also is also important because of that. Because, for example, our results on Twitter for Wolves, I believe, as we will see on when I speak about numbers, are very good results. Because, for example, here in Portugal, people are not very used to be on Twitter. It's more Instagram and Facebook people. We're not so Twitter people. But anyhow, we have very good results. And I believe that it's this kind of exclusive content that they can find anywhere. It has been a way that it helped us to find that success. For example, we have been doing interviews, exclusive interviews with our coaches, the team, Nuno's team, the coaches that they don't use to give interviews to the media, to the usual media, to journalists. And they gave us interviews about how they adapt to England. For example, this interview that we will watch it a little part of this interview. It was with Rui Pedro Silva. He's the number 2 of the Nuno Silva, and he was speaking about how it was his how he adapted to Wolverhampton. It's a very different city from what he was used to here in Porto. And I remember 2 of the things that he felt more difficult in the beginning was training with snow on the pitch.
That happened. Oh my goodness.
A lot. Russell can tell you better than me, but I see the videos and the photos, and not a long ago, a few weeks ago, there was a lot of snow there on the pitch, and also, unfortunately, Russell, unfortunately for you, you don't have so much sun as we have here in Porto and in Portugal. And Rui Pedro Silva also told us about that in the beginning it was difficult for them to adapt. But this is the other, the other side of the story, players and of the coaches that people, I believe that people loves to know. And for example, this question that I am going to show, it was about the English football and the difference between the culture of the fans in what concerns to football. And he speaks about the big respect that the fans and that everybody that works on and that likes football has in England. And it's not similar here to Portugal, where here we only think about winning no matter how. But he found a very different culture there, and I'm going to show.
Let's learn with him.
Yeah, this is in Portuguese.
Aqui eu só ia acrescentar uma coisa, que é uma coisa que nós latinos, quando eu digo latinos, então não quero dizer latinos, mas que temos que nos adaptar ao futebol inglês, que é a questão da... Eu vou-lhe chamar regras, mas há muito o respeito pelo jogo em si. Pronto, vamos para um jogo e sabemos que vamos para um jogo pelo jogo de futebol. Não existe qualquer tipo de interferências além do jogo. Há, sei lá, uma regra muito simples, é que, se calhar muita gente desconhece, o futebol da Inglaterra só tem uma bola por jogo. Ou seja, não existe a interferência do apanha-bolas. A bola vai ao público, a bola regressa naturalmente, a bola bate num placar, regressa naturalmente. Existe muito esse respeito. Há o respeito pelos horários, há o respeito pelos árbitros, há o respeito pela comunicação social. Ou seja, aqui, basicamente, eu acho que toda a gente respeita muito o que foi este produto criado pela Premier League e, se calhar, por isso ter o sucesso que tem.
So this is probably one of the secrets of the success of the Premier League and of the English football, is this respect for the game and this different culture about the game. And this other example is with António Dias. It's the physiologist of the Nuno's team, and we also wanted to know how he adapts, how is his life there in England. He's there with his wife and his kids, and also about some technical aspects of his work because it's a very specific work, and he's working on a league that is comparing with Portugal. We always speak about the intensity of the English football. Even the players speak about that. So we wanted to know how do they adapt their own work, their technical work, to that kind of football.
Assim, nós tentamos sempre perspectivar o máximo do que é uma abordagem de equipa, de treino de equipa. E, por exemplo, uma das coisas que nós acabamos por trazer mais vezes para as nossas situações de treino é estratégias que exijam o aumento do ritmo de jogo em treino. E o aumento de ritmo pode ter a ver com o aumento de ritmo de ações técnicas, o aumento de posses de bola por unidade de tempo. Do ponto de vista físico, nós também procuramos, às vezes, olhar para algumas métricas, porque pode ser, por exemplo, os metros por minuto em ações de jogo ou em blocos de trabalho, no sentido de conseguirmos criar um contexto que realmente permita aos jogadores subir aquilo que é o ritmo de jogo e o ritmo de treino, reduzindo também às vezes às pausas. Isso é uma das coisas que nós conseguimos jogar. Às vezes, por exemplo, pode passar inclusive, que foi uma das ferramentas que nós notamos que também nos permite aumentar o ritmo de trabalho, o ritmo de treino de algumas posições específicas. Por exemplo, quando a equipa, algum grupo de jogadores que nós queremos aumentar o ritmo, em algumas situações de jogo se tornarem em inferioridade, verificamos que isso é uma das coisas que aumenta a necessidade de ritmo de trabalho da parte deles. E nós notamos isso a nível da intensidade, como falou, uma coisa é o ritmo de jogo. Outra coisa que nós notamos também foi aquilo que eles chamam physicality, a fisicalidade do jogo, por assim dizer, ou seja, mais quantidade de duelos, maior, se calhar um espectro um bocado mais abrangente da perspectiva do árbitro, do que é um contacto legal, do que é uma disputa legal. Ou seja, nós tivemos no início, principalmente no Championship, em que eu penso que isso aí está a um nível ainda mais alto do que na Premier League. Na Championship penso que a permissividade dos árbitros em relação ao contacto e à agressividade e ao corpo a corpo, nomeadamente, por exemplo, em relação ao guarda-redes e mesmo em situações na área, é mais amplo do que na Premier League. E nós, nas nossas primeiras semanas, se calhar meses cá, acabamos por ter essa dificuldade. Eu me recordo muito bem o nosso primeiro jogo.
So this is a long answer, but we can understand how the kind of interview that we made with him. So this is the kind of things that coaches usually don't speak about. We don't see this kind of questions on the newspapers, on the media, traditional media. So this is a different way to get people to follow us and to engage our media. And one of the things that, sorry. Okay, and this interview, one of the things that we do with some of our contents is share it with the Portuguese media, the newspapers, the daily sports newspapers, and usually they use it. And as you can see here with this interview with António Dias, it was shared by Record, O Jogo, Mais Futebol, A Bola. Almost all the newspapers shared his interview, because we also use this to the Portuguese page on the Wolves website, because we also have on the website of Wolves a Portuguese page. So there we have the entire interview written. So the journalist can use it and take it from there. It's another kind of work that we do.
And that's great work, because we know social media are just this huge world these days, and with so many people on it, but some people are not yet on social media, right?
Yeah.
So, and we have to take that into account and to have an answer to those fans as well, isn't it?
Yes, and the content in social media is always smaller, and so if people wants to know more, to read more about it, well, they have the website. That's it continues our material from
and also the newspapers. So some people might not know the Wolves team yet, but
sure,
with sharing the news, they might, because they probably consume as a football in Portugal, and they know all those newspapers here, and they are regular consumers there.
Yes, I know that, for example, in the website of the newspaper O Jogo, the news from every news, the news from Wolves are on the top. That are the first on the top, the most read ones.
Wow.
Beyond the three biggest teams in Portugal, Porto, Benfica, and Sporting.
How insane to get to that point, right? In terms of marketing.
So we know that every time that we send them, I send them like I did yesterday with this the Wolves Awards. Yesterday when I got this information, I shared it on the Twitter, and immediately I've sent a WhatsApp message to the guys I know on the newspapers. Here's a nice content for you if you want to use it. These are the Wolves Awards. Pedro Neto was the best player, and I don't know, less than 20 minutes after that, they were sharing it.
Wow.
Yes, really. So because they need that kind of content, because they know it's something that their own readers, their own followers wanted. So we have to work on that. And here is the Portuguese website with some news. Many of these news are translated from the English website, the English page, but it also have exclusive content here on this page. And these are the numbers on April of 2020. The Portuguese Wolves had something like around 15,000 followers, and now we are on 30,000 followers. And by the way, this is good news. From today, from a minute ago, we got to 30.1 thousand followers. So
congratulations.
Russell didn't know that. So it's good news. Probably because of this news about Nuno, that people wanted to know more information about it. And
oh, Pedro, I was about to say it was thanks to our conference. How come it's about the player? It was thanks to our marketing. We talked to everyone about the Wolves.
Sorry, I didn't understand now. There was a problem here with the connection.
I said, how come you think it's about the play? It was obviously about this conference. We did an amazing marketing.
This conference here? Yes, probably. Yeah, I believe so. Yes. But yeah, probably. I haven't think about it, but it's yes. So and this maybe help us to have this. These are the Twitter pages in Portuguese from other clubs, big clubs in Europe. And as you can see, we are on the top 11. And we are not far from, for example, Inter Milano, Tottenham, Juventus, Cristiano Ronaldo, Juventus. Of course, we are very far from Barcelona, but many of these, or most of these, I believe all of them, are pages from Brazil, not from Portugal. So because they have many players, and for example, Paris Saint-Germain has Neymar, and of course Neymar has millions of followers, and that attracts the followers. But we are on the top 11. It's very good, I believe, especially thinking that 1 year in 2020 we had half of these numbers. So it's we are growing, and I believe that next year we'll be there on the third place. What do you think, Russell?
Russell is aiming high and fast.
Yes. Well, and this is some of the media, the Portuguese media, some of the news about. This was what I was telling you a few moments ago. The news about the Wolves Awards yesterday. These three news was, I don't know, it was very, especially o jogo. It was. I've sent them the message, and a few moments after it was online. So this is an example of how they are looking for news from Wolverhampton. And finally,
it's probably worth saying there, Pedro, isn't it, that at the end of season awards last night, the Portuguese players took all the awards. So what Pedro won Player of the Year, Fans Player of the Year. He won Players Player of the Year. Fabio Silva won Young Player of the Year, and João Moutinho won Goal of the Year. So our Portuguese players won everything.
Wow! Wow!
So it was a huge success. Yes, and Portuguese players are also very funny players on the dressing rooms, and this is one example. Here we are always looking for the social media from our players, not only the Portuguese but also the other players. For example, here we saw a post on Conoco, the Instagram, and we shared it because it was with Vitinha, and it was a very funny moment on the dressing room. It's something that people could never see if there wasn't social media, and let me share it with you.
Give him a mask on him. That's it. Vito, what? Turn around a minute.
It was a very funny moment. So I believe it's a nice way to end this presentation. And here you have Wolves PRT. So we are aiming to get Barcelona's place on that top 11. So if you want to follow us, it will be great. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, Pedro. This is a great insight on how you guys work and how you're just all the dynamic that you're creating with engaging with the people that are following you, and with the fans that they don't know yet. They are fans of the Wolves football team. They might be fans of some Wolves product or the esports, but you're there, and that presence is so important. So we have some questions for you now. I think the first question that it's coming to mind to everyone that's at home seeing us is, why Portugal? So why? Such a small country, isn't it? So only 10 million. So why Portugal? Why creating all of this with the Portuguese people?
Do you want me to go first, Pedro?
Well, go ahead. I believe it's a question for Russell, but the first, I think I have answered one of the parts of this question. Is it's not only Portugal, it's all the Portuguese speaking community. Of course, we have Portuguese players, many Portuguese players, and of course Portugal is their home, but well, I'll leave. I think
let's hear
the
what
rest of the answer is from Russell.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's pretty eloquently answered, really, Pedro. I think that in terms of player recruitment, obviously, we've managed to have a great relationship with George Mendes and the Gesta Food Group, who've helped us most definitely in terms of our recruitment policy. That's been very, very successful, and that's played a huge part. Clearly, acquiring Nuno as our first team coach makes a huge difference, because he looks to the Portuguese market, he knows the Portuguese market, so therefore he's acquired players there. And I think, as we said, we're looking to build the brand all around the world, but you always want anchor points to tell your story of. And most of the time, those anchor points would be some kind of, it would be a player, or it would be where your owners are from, or it would be maybe you've developed an esports team somewhere. So, Portugal makes absolute sense, given that, as we've said, we have more Portuguese players than Porto. So therefore, to build our story in Portugal makes perfect sense for us. But also the language is something that is important, because it helps us then reach into Brazil. We have a FIFA 21 Brazilian team. So again, on our Portuguese feed, we tell stories about how they're doing. But I'd say on the whole, it's around our talented young kind of Portuguese playing squad, and obviously our former manager.
We have a question here. Do you think through these strategies, so with all the Portuguese players, with all the communication that you have developed in Portuguese, do you think that you got to the heart of the Portuguese people? Do you think the Portuguese people feel they are a wolf from the pack?
I think that's a really good question. I've been on a couple of conferences in Portugal, and I think we're starting. I still don't think we're perfectly there. And again, it's really useful to get Pedro's thoughts on that. I felt like we've done really good job in Mexico. In Mexico, we seem to have just really captured the imagination of Mexican people. I mean, I've been to Mexico a couple of times, and anywhere you go around Mexico City, if you're wearing a Wolves top, people are shouting at you, kind of "Si Senor," which is the song around Raul Jimenez. I've never felt quite the same in Portugal, but I do believe it's coming. I think that the third shirt made a big difference. But I do appreciate in Portugal there is 3 huge football teams, and obviously we know that Portuguese fans, number one, would be loyal to Porto, Sporting, Benfica. We know that. So I think our view has always been we'd like to be their second team, so they can support one of those 3. But perhaps they feel they feel that Wolves could be their second team. I think that would always be our strategy. I don't know, Pedro, if you think any more on that one.
Yeah, let me see what Pedro has to say, because Pedro, you're from Porto, right? And I know that Porto people are very, very engaged with the club. So you feel like it's your home, isn't it? So how do you feel the Wolves is your second team?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, because now I suffer with the Wolves plays. Even when I'm working and concentrating in what I am doing, posting tweets and receiving photos and so on. But I'm here alone working, and I shout when it's Wolves goal. So that's a sign. I believe that's a sign. Yes, but seriously, I think, as in always in football, it always depends a lot from results. I know there are many people that follows Wolves. I speak with lots of people, with my friends and so on, and they know, they watch the games on TV, and they follow, yes, because they are the players, because of this last season's results. It was amazing what Wolves have done these last 3-4 years. But I believe in football, it always depends a lot of results, and of course, if our players have success in a foreign club, a huge success, that helps a lot to have this kind of feeling. But of course, we are very different from Mexicans. I believe we won't have that kind of behavior here in Portugal, probably. But yes, but people knows the results. People follows the games, and I think it's growing.
With time, you guys will get there, I'm sure.
I think what we haven't done well enough, which is something we've talked quite a lot about, is how we tell the story of what the Portuguese players have meant in Wolverhampton to the Portuguese audience. That's something that I'm really keen to do. So, for example, Nuno, his face is kind of all over Wolverhampton. He got a doctorate from the local university.
Wow.
And he's Dr. sort of Nuno. You've got someone like there's more Rubens born at Wolverhampton Hospital than any other boy name.
Oh my goodness.
There's signs, all over the restaurants of Wolverhampton that say, Nuno can eat here free. there's lots of different things like this. There's a bridge called the Neves Bridge, and I think there's things like that in Wolverhampton that maybe haven't necessarily translated to Portugal, that they don't necessarily understand how important sort of like Portugal is to Wolverhampton. And when we did our third kit launch, we were quite close to having a bit of a fun with it, because people started to call Wolverhampton, I think, along the lines of Wolverhampton El Porto or something was kind of part of the fun. And so, we had buses that were going to say sort of like going to Porto on them. Our market had changed from selling the normal sort of sausages, was now selling sardines. And we were going to do just have a bit of fun with it. We didn't do it in the end, but it was something we talked about doing. What we didn't want to do was offend anyone in Portugal, but we wanted people in Portugal to understand the dramatic effect that these amazing Portuguese players had on the people of Wolverhampton.
Yeah, Russell, I think you're right. You have a gap there, maybe, right? So that information, and in Wolverhampton, you guys have that information, and the people there feel that, right? So because either way, they wouldn't be calling their babies Ruben, but that information is not getting to us.
Yeah, so exactly. There's a bit more we can do there, I think. That would be
nice. That would be nice. I hope you guys establish strategies to make it happen, for the info to get here quicker.
Yes, and then it's the kind of work that we are trying to do here, especially sharing this kind of content with our journalists here in Portugal. And it's this kind of things that we are trying to do. For example, one of the news that awake people here in Portugal about that effect of Nuno and that popularity of Nuno there in Wolverhampton was recently a donation that Nuno gave to the Wolves Foundation, something more than 200,000 euros that he donates to a campaign to help in this COVID scenario, and then people. I believe that helped a lot to people to understand the how he's connected with the city, and how he lives the city, and how the city lives Nuno. And
it's his home as well, right? Is it another home?
Yeah, we shared a lot of times that photo of a wall with a huge painting of Nuno's face. I believe that's in the center of Wolverhampton, of the city. So it's it's a work that
and the markets are so different. So you have Mexico, you have Portugal, and all the Portuguese speaking countries. You have the UK, and you have China. Which communication channels are the ones that are the most successful for the Wolves team in general? So not in a specific market. We saw the Portuguese market, but for the Wolves as a brand.
I don't think it's necessarily that there's one more successful than the other. I mean, we post out in, as I say, 5 different languages. I mean, China has completely different social media channels. So you're talking about Weibo, WeChat, Douyin, which is their version of TikTok, and so on. So there's completely different channels there. I think in obviously in Arabic, we on our Facebook page, it's sort of one Facebook page, but we post out in local languages. So again, we can segment to where you're from and post out in local language, as well as global posts as well. And we can do that really for almost any country around the world. Twitter, we have individual feeds that go out in different countries. TikTok at the moment is just a global, as is our YouTube channel. But I wouldn't necessarily say there is one channel over another that we found incredibly successful. I think the biggest growth has probably been our Instagram page. But in terms of engagement, I'd say they're all really strong.
Yeah. That's great. So they just work differently and they complete each other out, isn't it? So
I think what's interesting, probably the one that probably stands out is probably TikTok. And the reason it stands out is because the other channels you follow. So you follow those other channels, and therefore you follow them deliberately because you want that content. You want Wolves content. Whereas TikTok doesn't work like that. TikTok, you just see a really fun video. And therefore we can generally, the sort of things that we're posting on our TikTok channel are really cheeky. And so people are just enjoying that content. You know, it takes the mickey a little bit of ourselves, but it takes the mickey a little bit out of other teams. It's friendly banter. People just enjoy watching that. And you could watch Wolves TikTok. It doesn't matter if you supported Wolves or didn't support Wolves, you just find it funny. And so it is a different kind of channel.
And it has a different algorithm, isn't it? So it's much easier to get to the people. So the video just shows up, pops up on my profile. I wasn't even looking for it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's it. Exactly. So it's a bit different.
It's such an interesting, it's very interesting actually, because we talked about this in marketing and how TikTok is just growing. And I think it's amazing that in the club you are taking advantage of this platform, because it has such a great potential to reach people, and it's amazing that you're working on that. We see a lot of clubs not working as much, not investing as much, but it is a great platform to grow and to create that engagement.
I think Twitch is an interesting channel as well. So obviously we stream all of our different esports events on Twitch. And I think what you'll find with Twitch is it's all live. So content's all about live on Twitch. And you might only have 300 to 500 viewers tuning in to watch your live stream. But the difference between something like Twitter, where people tune in for 10 seconds, these people are tuning into a live stream for 3 hours. So it's a completely different kind of content, but the engagement rate particularly on Twitch is it's like nothing else. I mean, there's just thousands of chat going in whilst the guys are playing live events, whether it's Rocket League, FIFA, Fortnite, it's all happening, and there's just huge engagement rate.
Yeah, that's true. Twitch is it's another platform. So all these platforms coming and appearing at this time and creating a new reality, and it merges with the COVID situation, which is very interesting because people just happen to be at home more time as well. So they're just available there to stay that 3 hours and seeing all of that live, living the experience. I have a questions sorry, Russell, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that's one of the biggest challenges that football has, particularly behind closed doors, in that, you know, I found it certainly when you watch a game behind closed doors for 90 minutes, it's there's not the colour, there's not the emotion in the stadium, there's not the passion in the stadium, and it can become a little bit boring to watch. And then afterwards you've got 50, 60-year-old former players, you know, analysing the game. Now, that's fine for someone like me, you know, a 40-year-old man, that I enjoy that. But my 11-year-old son, he's not interested in that whatsoever. He will not sit and watch a game for 90 minutes, particularly not one that's on TV. We know it.
He won't even turn the TV on.
Yeah, exactly. So instead, he's on, you know, he's playing on his console with his headphones on, talking to his mates. He might be streaming. He might even be watching someone stream whilst he's playing with his mates. It's such a different environment. It's so engaging, so interactive for him. And honestly, live football has got to learn from that. It's got to be able to engage these young people. And we know we can do it from a live perspective. Life's easy because they're sitting in a stadium. They've got the noise of the crowd, the smell of the hot dog. It's great.
Even if you don't want to, you will feel it.
Exactly. But when you're not live and you're at home, how do you engage them then? And I think that's one of the big challenges that football clubs have got, to engage that next generation of fan.
And also because this reality is not going away, isn't it? So
no, it's not.
We have all these kids growing up in this environment, an online environment. And yeah, all this generation, huge generation coming to be a fan in future. How will you engage with those fans? Do you know? Are you already planning?
So I mean, we do as much as we can. So in terms of obviously Fortnite, we do a lot in Fortnite. So We have, for example, we do a lot of live tournaments, a lot of fan tournaments, and we'll encourage fans to sign up for these tournaments. And then we'll run, say, a GOS contest on Fortnite. So again, I've sort of experienced it through my 11-year-old. So I'm watching him. He's got his headphones on. He's kind of talking to his friend as he's playing the game. But he's also then on another TV got the live stream. And he's kind of watching the live stream just in case he gets featured. Because that's amazingly exciting if you get featured. And then if the kind of the caster says kind of your name and you do a cool move, I mean, that's like literally utopia at that point. So it's like I say, we're doing quite a lot of that. It's how we then take that back into a football environment, and we haven't got that quite yet, but I think that's definitely the next challenge for us.
And in terms of the way that you kind of not transformed, but maybe transform the brand, so it's not a football club anymore. You said it several times. It's the Wolves, so it's a brand. How are you dealing with that? So didn't it how can I say it? Not that it was a bad thing, but for the football club fans, so that branch of people, how did they react to it? So to those bold actions that you took on from, for example, the Paris fashion show and Shanghai.
Wolves is the brand. Wolverhampton Wanderers is a football club, and that's part of the brand, but it will always be a football club. It will always be a community. It will always have one definite purpose, and that is to make its fans proud. That's it. That's its only purpose, to make its fans proud. And it will always be that kind of pillar of its local community. So when you start to talk about brand with the football club, it almost makes me slightly uncomfortable. But when we start to talk about Wolves as a brand, it's absolutely a brand. It's a sports and entertainment brand. Wolverhampton Wanderers is part of it, but it's got an esports organisation. It's got a music proposition. It's got a motor racing proposition. It's got a fashion business, etc. So I almost would separate them slightly. The football club will always be the most important one because it's, it's the heart and soul of everything. And ultimately, the money that's generated from these other activities are given generally to the coach, and he improves the squad. That's kind of the economics. That's the economics of the model. But yeah, I know what you're saying. You've always got to be slightly careful when you start to talk brand and football clubs, because the two don't feel comfortably next to each other. And I would never refer to the football club as a brand. I would always refer to the football club as, Wolverhampton Wanderers. It was established in 1877. As Pedro says, it was the first penalty. It was the first ground that had floodlights in 1954. It was the home of European football. It played the first ever professional football league game in the 1800s, etc. Whereas Wolves as a brand was born 2 years ago. It's a startup. It's an entrepreneurship. It's and you have to look at it slightly differently.
Amazing answer. Thank you so much. I have a question for Pedro. Pedro, so how does it feel to work with this amazing brand?
It's great. It's great. It's great because when I first started thinking about football and the football clubs or the brands of football clubs as a brands, as Russell was saying, was when I worked in the Portuguese football league on the communication department. That was when I started thinking about that and really noticing that today it's much beyond a simple sport, a simple game of football, and today the fact of we can watch it almost everywhere, especially the Premier League. We can watch it almost everywhere in the world, in every place, in every home. We can watch a Wolves game, and what that represents for for example, for the brands, for the sponsors that are that have partnerships with the Wolves. Football is, as I said before, football is the biggest entertainment show in the world, because every weekend and even with the European competitions in the middle of the week and the national games in the middle of the week, almost every day you have a big show on TV watched by millions of people, and that doesn't happen with any other thing, I believe. So a brand like a club like Wolves, that it can be watched and in all over the world, it's something that every brand wants, every company wants. Who does not want that my business is seen and known in everywhere?
Definitely. So you know, in Portugal, it's very common for a club to have a TV channel. So we have the channel of Sporting, Benfica. Do you have a TV channel in the UK?
So we don't have a specific TV channel as such. We create videos via what we call Wolves TV. So we do have a video department. So we do create a number of different videos, but it's not a specific sort of, you couldn't just tune into a TV channel and watch 24/7.
Okay.
But we do create a lot of content. But we do have a radio show. It's called Wolves Radio 24/7. So if you download the Wolves app and click the little button in the corner, you can listen to Wolves Radio 24/7.
Amazing. Interesting how it changes. So Portugal, the UK, how it works differently. So maybe here the consumer just watch TV more, and so the clubs invest in a TV channel, and maybe there people just hear radio more. So interesting. Russell, I think you have so many Portuguese in your team, in your club, that you might know some Portuguese words.
I'm not very good on Portuguese words. Don't test me.
How come?
I know. I need to do a better job of learning Portuguese. So I did start to try and learn Spanish and a little bit of Mandarin during lockdown. But English people are just terribly lazy, aren't they? We're just the worst people on languages in the world. Honestly, I was because Fosun are the company that own Wolves, and so when we were allowed to travel, I must have been in China with some of my colleagues, and we were on a bus going somewhere, and my colleagues are from Germany and Spain and Portugal and China, and everyone on the coach was debating about how many languages they spoke. And I'm thinking, oh no, this is going to come to me in a minute. And one person can speak 4 and someone else is speaking like 6 languages, and then it came to me and it's like, well, what do you speak? And I was like, well, I speak English, American, Australian. Terrible, but I promise next time I do this conference, I'll do better.
The minimum, just like some football words, so that you can watch a game here live and feel all the energy.
Definitely.
Well, I think I'm done with the questions. I want to thank you both for being here today. It was amazing this time. It was just so quick. We learned so much from you. I want to finish with you guys, let you, I don't know, do we have a time change? We do. No, we don't have a time change. Do you have a time change between Portugal and where you at, Russell? No, not right now? Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us all this knowledge, and have a great night, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
E vamos agora passar à mesa.